Chief guest for today is Ambassador Asif Durrani, Pakistan's Special Representative on Afghanistan. I will request Ambassador Durrani for his address.
Thank you, Amna Khan, for organizing this very important event. Thank you, Ambassador Sohail Mahmood, Director General, Institute of Strategic Studies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ambassador Khalid Mahmood. This event, in fact, is a great learning for me because it's 3 sessions, are directly or indirectly, in fact, will contribute to my understanding of the emerging threats, challenges, and opportunities. Dear colleagues, friends, excellencies, Pakistan's neighborhood is infested with tensions and disputes. In the past century, major powers' rivalries have further compounded the regional situation. Theoretically, Pakistan's unique geography enhances its geopolitical and geoeconomic value, for it lies at the confluence of South and Central Asia. At the same time, it serves as a gateway to the Middle East. Practically, the ground situation in the neighborhood could have been better. If Middle East oil was considered a lifeline for the Western world during the Cold War, the Iranian Revolution, the breakup of Soviet Union, and the rise of China have created new paradigms for region's peace and security. The Ukrainian crisis is considered a revival of the Cold War rivalry. The Israel-Hamas war has further compounded the global order. Iran-Israel confrontation, if not contained urgently, may have all the trappings of engulfing the entire Middle East and beyond. Pakistan will also suffer. In any case, Pakistan has suffered geopolitically since the former Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. The post-9/11 world order has negatively impacted Pakistan. Apart from losing 80,000 citizens' lives, including 8,000 law enforcement agency personnel, the country's economic opportunity cost is estimated at $150 billion. While Pakistan was designated a non-NATO ally, the imposition of travel advisories by NATO members adversely affected the country as doing business with Pakistan became expensive. Insurance costs also increased. Consequently, Pakistan's exports remain stagnated for the past 2 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's internal and external challenges have been in flux, partly rooted in history and partly in unstable conditions in the region. 4 factors impact Pakistan's regional and global perspective. First, everyone knows the bad blood between Pakistan and India from the day one. During the past decade, the Hindutva majoritarian dispensation in India has adopted an anti-Muslim agenda within the country and Pakistan bashing in the region and beyond. The threshold of Pakistan bashing has increased gradually. It is no longer a secret that Pulwama drama was enacted in 2019 to create an anti-Pakistan narrative in India to gain maximum mileage in the 2019 elections. It worked to Mr. Modi's advantage, bagging a 2/3 majority, which culminated in the reoccupation of illegally Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Hapless Kashmiris have been deprived of the special status enjoyed under Articles 370 and 35A. The occupied state has been bifurcated into union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh to be directly governed by New Delhi. With slight variation, this act is now repeated by Israel and Gaza to completely occupy the Gazan territory by pushing the Palestinians to Sinai Desert. Atrocities perpetrated by India in the occupied Jammu and Kashmir and by Israel in occupied Palestine are a textbook case for systemic genocide and pogrom of hapless Kashmiris and Palestinians. It shows that the two countries have been drawing inspiration from each other's experiences. India's outright support of the Israeli wanton bombing against defenseless Palestinians, women, and children is a blot on the world's conscience. Without a formal dialogue in the context of Pakistan and India, the two countries have become irrelevant. Pakistan is not dependent on India, therefore, the latter cannot dictate its terms to Pakistan. Second, Afghanistan has become a permanent fixture in Pakistan's regional paradigm for over 4 decades. In terms of blood and treasure, Pakistan has suffered more due to the Afghanistan imbroglio than its 3 wars with India. Over 80,000 Pakistanis have died during the past 2 decades of the so-called war on terror. The country is still counting its dead and injured. After the withdrawal of the net forces, it was hoped that peace in Afghanistan would bring peace to the region. However, such expectations were short-lived. Attacks by the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan on Pakistan's border areas increased by 65%, while suicide attacks increased by 500%. The TTP's enhanced attacks on Pakistan while using Afghan soil have been a serious concern for Pakistan. Another worrying aspect is the participation of Afghan nationals in these attacks. Third, Pakistan's proximity in the Middle East is another essential feature of its regional approach, characterized by deep security and economic interests. Geopolitically, Pakistan is a next-door neighbor of the Gulf states, enjoying a strategic relationship with most GCC countries. Most importantly, approximately 5 million Pakistani workers in GCC countries contribute roughly 60% of foreign remittances to the country's economy. The rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia has further eased the partnership with two critical actors in the Middle Eastern politics. However, Hamas-Israel war has brought to the fore the lingering doubts about peace in the Middle East. It has also sharpened the divide due to the US and West support of Israel's genocidal pursuit against the hapless Palestinians. Ironically, the Palestinian tragedy is happening despite the majority of world support for the Palestinians' right to self-determination. Closer home, the denial of Kashmiri's right to self-determination by India will continue to haunt the region with uncertainties. Israel's killing of Iranian consulate officials and Iran's counterattack through over 300 missiles and drones further compounded the situation in the region. Had it not been for the severe international pressure for restraint by both sides, Israel's counterattack at Aswan could have plunged the entire region into massive death and destruction. Although the danger of war has been averted for the time being, the chronic tensions in the Middle East, especially the Palestinian genocide, can plunge the region into a global war. Fourth, China is a constant factor in Pakistan's strategic calculus. The relationship between the two countries has endured. China's investment in Pakistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is unprecedented and may prove to be a game changer. This reality holds great promise for Pakistan's overall initiative. The second phase of CPEC will unfold Pakistan's true industrial prowess in the coming years. US-China tensions pose a severe threat to global order. The Indo-Pacific alliance, meant to keep China in check, may cause more significant tensions. While Pakistan is not part of the Indo-Pacific setting, its tension with India will cause concern for the region. India's aggressive posture in future would not only force China to adopt a counter strategy, but would also compel Pakistan to open a second front for India. In conclusion, the future outlook for Pakistan in the regional context points to a mixed picture. While our eastern neighbor is likely to continue with its anti-Pakistan pursuits, the western border poses an avoidable irritant in the short to medium term. However, with deft diplomacy, Pakistan can overcome its difficulties with Afghanistan, including the TTP challenge. China and Iran will remain friends and offer a sound basis for a durable partnership in terms of security and economics. The Indo-US budding romance, flux in Middle Eastern politics, and Israel's atrocities against the Palestinians would pose a formidable challenge for Pakistan and its diplomacy. The above challenges may usher Pakistan to forge a stable regional policy, a policy primed to prioritize neighbors who are allies far afield. I thank you. Thank you very much. Really, I stand educated with different presentations. With regard to recognition, I think already the countries, whether they have their embassies, almost 16, 17 embassies in Kabul, they haven't recognized. But at the same time, those countries which are not maintaining missions in Kabul, they have their contacts in Doha. So for all practical purposes, they are engaged with each other, one. Secondly, even if we recognize, we did that during Taliban 1.0. What happened? I mean, we recognized along with Saudi Arabia and UAE, just 3 countries. So it did not do anything good. And now when we are talking about, there are certain hard realities, whether we like it or not. Taliban are in power, and this time they control almost 100% of the country. That's a reality. So what do you do? Can we afford 10 million refugees in Pakistan if you don't engage with them? If you don't have bilateral trade? And let me also add here that right now, whatever Afghanistan is ruled by the Taliban, at least the immediate neighbors of Afghanistan plus Russia, they have in fact kept Afghanistan going with trade. And the trade is through currency swap and barter trade. Otherwise, I quoted the figure 10 million. That is a conservative figure, because otherwise then the country would have actually collapsed economically. Even United States is still the largest donor in the international assistance. So there are humanitarian aspects of this relationship with Pakistan. We have a peculiar relationship, which is not the case with other immediate neighbors of Afghanistan. We have 2,600 kilometers borderline. And then actually tribes are divided on both sides of the border. This is not the case even with Iran, while it shares Baloch population. They have Iranian Balochistan, and Nimroz is mostly Baloch majority province. But they are not on the border. Same is true with Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, or China. They don't have it. While Turkmens, Uzbeks, and Tajiks are a substantive number in Afghanistan, socially, they don't align with the countries Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan because of more than 70 years of Soviet influence. Their 4-5 generations have transformed themselves. 100% literacy they have. They don't align. They can't align with the Afghan, Uzbeks, Tajiks, or Turkmens. So these are also ground realities. What we are doing now, and actually the dilemma we face, is that the peace in Afghanistan did not give the due dividends to Pakistan. And this is also peculiar to Pakistan because Afghanistan's other neighbors don't face the challenges which we face, especially through the TTP. But ISKP is a big threat, not only to Pakistan, They have done their operations in Pakistan. ISKP has launched rocket attacks in Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Then earlier this year in January, General Soleimani's death anniversary, they killed more than 100 people. And then now there are talks about Moscow killings. So if it can happen in the immediate neighborhood, if ISKP can launch operations in the immediate neighborhood, they can go anywhere. So it is emerging now again a global challenge, and there's a need for engagement. And I can share with you that there are certain Western countries which tip off to the Taliban about ISKP, and they take action. This is also a reality. This is also a reality that there is less corruption in Afghanistan. I'm not saying this. International opinion is about that. It is also true that narcotics is at its all-time low. I'm not saying this. UNODC has endorsed it. So these are also positives which are there. Negatives are also there, especially human rights, especially girls' education and their right to work. But what to do? They are in control. What we can do is that we have offered scholarships. This time, this is our third phase, which has started with 4,500 scholarships, and that includes 1,500 scholarships for the girls. So, and that has happened when Taliban are ruling. So there is a way to engage them. There is a way. And then there is also, it's a fact that even the Taliban hierarchy are divided on girls' education and their right to work. So I think through engagements, you can convince them. Initially, 4 decades ago, Iran was isolated for a brief period. But what happened now? They are recognized. They are recognized by overwhelming majority of the countries. So the underlying point is engagement. We cannot dictate terms anyone who has ruled Afghanistan, irrespective whether it was monarchy, and then Sardar Daoud's period, and then onwards the communists, and then the Mujahideen rule, and followed by Taliban. These Mujahideen, they could not forge unity in their ranks, even while taking oath in Makkah. So what to do? Unless Afghans are united, no one can do anything for Afghanistan. It is in their hands. So the important point I'm trying to make is it is the unity of Afghans, irrespective of their religious or ethnic affiliations. That world, their immediate neighbors or others can't help unless they are united. And this has been, unfortunately, the hallmark, at least since the arrival of Soviet troops. And then they left, the kind of destruction they had. And Salabai, we talked about Salabai, hatred, Minister, you said it. So these were the same Mujahideen. And then subsequently, after 9/11, again, same Mujahideen were ruling. What to do? You had the warlords. You still have the warlords. Those are also realities. So here we, with continuous engagement, of course, by using through deft diplomacy, you can bring about some change. I can't say 100% change, but you can bring about some level of change in that country. And so here we still have, let me also add it, that with the withdrawal of US and NATO troops, we received another 700,000 Afghans. They are still here. And the problem for us is they have exhausted their visas. Should they end up in jail? Or should they be deported? Because under the law, if they overstay their visas, they are likely to be detained and then deported. So we are faced with this dilemma also. And then we have had illegal Afghans staying here. Either they made forged documents or they did not have any documents, almost numbering 700,000. 553,000 have been sent back, not through by force, but 98% of them went on their own because they knew their status was illegal. So we face this dilemma. This is not the case with any immediate neighbors of Afghanistan. I can go on, but these are certain hard facts which I wanted to bring it to your notice. I thank you for your patience.